told you it was love. They convinced you it was normal. They made you believe the problem was you. But somewhere beneath the confusion, the self-doubt, the endless explanations that never quite made sense, you knew something was wrong. This is where we stop pretending. This is where we examine what they never wanted you to see. The patterns that controlled you, the systems that protected them.
The hustle doesn't have to hurt. If performance pressure is making it hard to breathe, Grow Therapy helps you navigate stress, set boundaries, and actually feel like yourself again. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/start now to get started. That's growtherapy.com/start now. growtherapy.com/start now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
If you found yourself suddenly recognizing the patterns of blame, gaslighting, or scapegoating that have shadowed your relationships with your mother, your spouse, or even your adult siblings, welcome to a moment many women are calling waking up. Maybe you're scrolling through social media and a post about family dysfunction hits you like a lightning bolt. Or you're listening to a friend describe her marriage and thinking, wait, that sounds exactly like mine. This isn't a new experience, but it's becoming impossible to ignore. Welcome back to the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Podcast. I'm Lynn, your host. Today we're talking about why so many women seem to be waking up to these dynamics right now, and what's really happening when the person who controlled your narrative suddenly loses their grip on the story. The reason so many women are waking up now isn't because narcissistic abuse suddenly appeared. It's because the dynamics are finally being exposed to a wider audience. Social movements, online communities, and increased conversation around psychological abuse have created something that didn't exist before. A vocabulary for experiences that were always dismissed as just family drama or normal relationship challenges. For decades, women were told they were too sensitive, too emotional, or too dramatic when they tried to name what was happening to them. The person wielding control, whether that was a parent, spouse, or family member, had the final word on reality. But now, that monopoly on truth is cracking. When someone controlling needs to stay superior, they create a system where one person absorbs all blame and shame to keep everyone else safe and unchallenged. This scapegoating dynamic serves a specific function. It protects the person in power from ever having to examine their own behavior or take responsibility for the dysfunction they create. The pattern is remarkably consistent, whether it's happening in your family of origin or your adult relationships. The mother who demonizes her daughter for every family conflict operates with the same psychological blueprint as the husband who insists his wife is too sensitive and the cause of his anger. The sibling who scapegoats you to avoid a family accountability uses the same tactics as the co-parent who blames you publicly to maintain their superior image. You might have experienced being blamed for breaking the family's peace whenever you questioned unfair treatment. Or maybe you've been told you're the reason your spouse gets angry, the reason family gatherings are tense, or the reason everyone else has to walk on eggshells. The person avoiding accountability needed someone to be the problem, so they never had to look at their own contribution to the chaos. Here's what's crucial to understand. This role wasn't chosen randomly. Scapegoats are often selected because they possess qualities that threaten the person in power. Maybe you were too honest, too independent, too willing to question things that didn't make sense. Maybe you had empathy that made others feel safe enough to share their real feelings with you. Or maybe you were simply convenient, the most sensitive one, the one who cared most about family harmony, the one who would absorb the blame rather than fight back. The person who scapegoated you needed you to believe their version of events because your compliance kept their system intact. If you accepted that you were the problem, they never had to change. If you stayed focused on fixing yourself, they could continue avoiding any self-reflection or accountability. But something's shifting now. Women are connecting dots that were deliberately kept separate. They're realizing that the difficult label they carried wasn't about their actual behavior. It was about their refusal to stay silent about mistreatment. They're seeing that the overly emotional accusation wasn't about their reactions. It was about someone else's need to avoid addressing what they were reacting to. The internet has created unprecedented access to information about psychological manipulation. Women are reading about gaslighting and thinking, that's exactly what happened to me. They're learning about triangulation and recognizing why they were always caught in the middle of family conflicts. They're discovering that reactive abuse is a real phenomenon, that losing your temper after months or years of calculated mistreatment doesn't make you the abusive one. This awakening often comes with a mixture of relief and grief. Relief because finally, someone is naming what you experienced. But grief because recognizing the pattern means accepting that the person who was supposed to protect you, love you, or partner with you was actually using you to avoid facing their own issues. You might be experiencing this wake-up call and feeling overwhelmed by how much suddenly makes sense. The reason you always felt like you were walking on eggshells. The reason nothing you did was ever quite right. The reason other people seem to get grace and understanding while you got criticism and blame. Here's the reality check you need. You were never the cause of the dysfunction. You were the convenient one chosen to carry the shame so the system could avoid facing its real issues. The person who needed to stay superior couldn't tolerate the threat of your authenticity, your questions, or your refusal to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. The accusations you heard repeatedly, that you're too sensitive, too difficult, too much, those weren't observations about your character. They were tools used to keep you focused on changing yourself instead of questioning why you needed to change to accommodate someone else's inability to treat you with basic respect. Women are waking up because the old narratives aren't working anymore. The explanations that kept us focused on our own behavior instead of the patterns around us are losing their power. We're finally asking different questions, not what's wrong with me, but what's wrong with this dynamic. This is Lynn, and this has been another episode of the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Podcast. Here's something to sit with. What specific accusations or blame have you consistently heard from whoever held power over your narrative? And how might those accusations have served to protect their need to stay superior rather than reflect your true worth or behavior? I'll see you in the next one. Visit our website at movingforwardafterabuse.com for articles, resources, and more support on your recovery journey.
Boost Mobile is now sending experts nationwide to deliver and set up customers' new phones.
Wait, we're going on tour?
We're delivering and setting up customers' phones. It's not a tour.
Not with that attitude.
Introducing Store to Door. Switch and get a new device with expert setup and delivery.
Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com.
The longer you stay alive, the longer you can enjoy Boost Mobile's unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. So here are some tips. Do not parallel park on a cliff if you want to enjoy an unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. Do not mistake a wasp nest for a piñata if you want to enjoy an unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. Do not microwave a hard-boiled egg if you want to enjoy an unlimited plan with the price that never goes up. Stay alive and enjoy unlimited wireless for $25 a month forever with Boost Mobile. After 30 gigs, customers may experience lower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
This work is hard, really hard. Questioning everything you were taught, seeing systems that were invisible, sitting with truth that change how you see the world. It's exhausting and overwhelming sometimes. There's no timeline for this, no right way to process it. We've gone daily now because these conversations matter. Subscribe so new episodes land automatically when they drop.